What's up, and welcome back into the studio, everybody. Now, who's ready to apply some paints to something? What are we going to be painting today? Yes, okay, you may have clicked the thumbnail, but we're going to be working on this awesome little 3D printed donut. Now, this was provided to us from Dimensional Drinks, an awesome company that I've known for a little while, but recently they started making all sorts of 3D prints for tumbler builds. So those are 3D tumbler sleeves that you can slide over tumblers and create amazing projects. We have an entire playlist here on my YouTube channel dedicated to their products, and this is the second project, technically. We're going to be using metallics to create this, and we're going to start off by base coating this in a Mars Black, as I kind of just give a brief description of what we got going on. Now, the previous video of this playlist was actually us creating an Austin Powers 3D Mojo tumbler. Now, that is the Mojo canister that was used to extract Austin Powers Mojo in The Spy Who Shagged Me. Of course, we added our own little bit of flair to it, including some LEDs, an acrylic painted straw, which applied like a syringe look to it, so it does look like an actual needle. Again, we did use those glitter ring 3D prints from Dimensional Drinks to create the actual capsule housing, and we used multitude of air dry clays and oven baked clays to create a really capsule like effect. We also used Flynn Sister Epoxy to create an amazing swirl that glue in the dark very beautifully, as well as to coat that thing in a final coat. So make sure you go back in the playlist and check that out. Now, as you can see, I did have my coffee there. Good. Now, I do have some Mod Podge here. We're going to go ahead and apply just a dingy look to the outside of this. I'm still using this Hijacks glitter from Glitter Chimp. And we're going to go ahead and apply a nice layer of glitter to some of the hard edges of this project. Now, this is going to be our rust layer. And we're not going to go crazy heavy with the rust. This is more so just to be fun and have fun painting. And I'm, of course, just going to share it with you. But it is very laid back. I'm not producing this to sell to anybody. I'm just producing this just to have fun with some of the metallic paints that I have in my studio, and just create a fun painting project. This project probably took me around 2 days with about maybe 2 different sessions in the studio, and then most of it is just waiting for it to dry before I can put another layer on it. Of course, don't ever be afraid to hit it with a heat gun. You can always heat those paints up super duper hot and then let them completely dry out and apply the next layer immediately. Now, this is actually a donut that is used as a tumbler stand, so you could put your PVC pipe tumbler holder in there and it would stand vertically. I do not use this size PVC pipe currently in my studio, but I still wanted to paint this because it is something they provided to me, so very cool. Now, we're going to pull out a lot of different metallics colors out of this, and my goal is to use as many as I can off my shelf. Some of the ones I haven't used before, and then some that I have, but we're just going to have fun with it. So we have a kind of a fuchsia here. This is a purple metallic. We also have a midnight blue. We also have a lighter color there, and I believe it is called powder. I can't remember. We also have a pearl white. Very beautiful. And we're going to use these throughout the project here. We're going to begin this process by actually applying not the bright colors, but some dingy dark colors. Now, this is a bronze, so it's like an antique bronze color. And all of these are from Folkart. If you haven't realized that already, all of these will be from Folkart. And these are the ones that we're going to be using for this project here. So Folkart, give me a shout out. I hope you enjoy the video as well. I really do love their crafting paints, and they're my go-to for crafting paints, especially for just generic crafts in general. I like to also use them on canvases as well. Actually, I'm working on a Golden Panther painting, so that is going to be coming out here soon, I hope, as well. We'll be using Folkart Gold, pure gold in that, so we'll be working on that also. Now, throughout this video, you're going to see that I will increase the time when we are painting and decrease it when we're kind of just looking at the item between different layers and colors, and we're also going to just jump around here and just have fun. The goal here is to create kind of more of a horizontal brush effect, and I'll use a lot of horizontal strokes here until I can get just a nice decent coverage over this Mars Black. For those who don't really paint a whole lot with metallics, the Mars Black base gives a beautiful rich color to any kind of metallics you usually go over it with. I'm not saying white isn't doable. I just think that the black gives it such a deeper base, and it really lets those metallics shine through. So I'm not saying that you won't find me painting over white with metallics later in the future or in the past. I'm just saying that I really do like to base coat my items in a Mars black and then begin painting from there. I just feel like it adds a lot of depth and richness to them. So again, this is that bronze. This is the antique bronze from Folkart, and we're going to go ahead and apply this over the entire outside edge. And here in a few moments, we'll move on to the bottom as well. Looking pretty good. Of course, I will hit this with a heat gun between layers so that we can kind of expedite things. So now we're actually going to be getting out pure gold. Now this is a pure gold. This could be an antique gold too. I can't rightly remember, but one of the either two. I believe it's an antique gold actually. Yep, antique gold. So we're going to go ahead and get this out here. Not much at all. That's all it takes is just a little dab there. These paints will take you a long way unless you're painting something substantially larger. But if you're just doing crafts here and there, these paints will last you a very long time. I've been using the same bottles of paints for at least 2 years or so. So it also depends on like just what you're painting, how big a scale you're painting, things like that. I'm doing kind of a side brush effect here. I want some of the striations of the donut to be visible, at least a little bit. It's not like I'm adding like a stippling texture to it to where you can't really tell it's like a 3D printed item. That's not really my prerogative in this project. I'm not going out of my way to hide that it's a 3D printed item. That's what it is. That's fun. That's the whole point of it. And their logo is on the front of the actual donut itself, which is just kind of fun. Now I will say that later on in this project video, I do coat the wording in like a gunmetal gray and a light like fuchsia or something, but I'm really not liking how the colors turn out, so I'll probably come back later and paint them in like a pearl white or something, make sure they're very bright, but that's for a later video. That really doesn't have anything to do with right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue on with that bronze on the very bottom here, trying to get a little bit of that Mars black a little bit covered there. I would like for there to be kind of an ombre effect between the kind of antique gold around the top of the donut batter or breading, and then towards the bottom here. We're going to go ahead and get out a little bit of gunmetal gray there, and this is actually going to dinge out a little bit of that bottom. You'll start to see that ombre effect where it gets lighter on top where the sunlight hits it, and then darker around the base of that donut. And it also helps to kind of see the curvature of the outside edge as well, so you get to almost see the curve of the outside donut just by using different colors there. Very cool. As we continue with that color, we're going to darken that out even more, so that's even more so noticeable. Now, the darker and the deeper that you make the outside edges of the actual batter donut, the brighter the top layers will be when we get to those brighter purples and blues and dark blues. We're also going to paint the interior as well. Don't forget that the donut batter and dough is visible on the inside of the donut before it is caked in a icing. So just remember, you got to come in here and kind of paint that as well. Just remember, we're also painting over that rust texture, so we'll be coming back later and just kind of giving it like a little bit of a grunge effect. We're not going to grunge out the entire project, but we're just going to apply a little bit of rustic grunge here and there. Applying another layer of gold to the top of that outside edge there. You can see it actually brightens it quite a bit as we apply more layers to that Mars black base. Digging it, digging it, digging it. So we're also going to add a little bit of a stippling gold to the interior of that as well. So that way that hole looks a little bit deeper and richer as well. Looking pretty good, you guys. Get a little bit of that gunmetal gray out there again. We're going to go ahead and deepen and darken the interior of that hole a little bit. I was almost tempted to cut the bottom out of that because I don't plan to use it as a stand, but it's pretty cool. So as you can see, we did a little bit of editing flip there. We do already have the bottom base coated in the overall same bronze here. We're going to go ahead and apply a little bit of a gunmetal gray to this. We'll do this in a slow manner, and I'm also kind of using the side of my brush to kind of create like a dry brush effect. But I am applying quite a bit of paint here, you guys. So I'm not hiding the fact that I want this to be a little bit of a darker color, but I just wanted to have that bronze undertone with the gunmetal gray on top. So that way it just looks like it's part of that outside edge rolling up to the side of the donut there. What do you think? I think that looks pretty good. Now I hit that with a heat gun right quick, and that is completely dried up. It's a little bit warm to touch, but it's fine. No worries there. Also, I was able to get a little bit of a kind of rippling effect there. I believe that is from the actual 3D printed item itself when it's like laid on the 3D printer print plate. I'm not quite sure. Leave it in the description below if you know why it has a rippled effect. I don't think it's from the heat. I think it's from the actual print, maybe. All right, so now we're going to get a little bit of sterling silver. Now, sterling silver is substantially brighter, and we're going to just, again, do that little bit of a dry brush effect. And we're also going to use this to go over some of the rust texture that we have throughout the overall donut project. Using the side of my brush again there. And we're just going to kind of go over the outside, upper raised portions of those ripples there. And just leave them a little bit of shine. Give them some life, you guys. Get a little bit of shine on there. Cover up a little bit of that dark dinge. And just make it look a little bit more metallic. Pretty good. Going over all those little rust spots where the actual glitter is sitting on the outside edges. Kind of brings those forward a little bit instead of them just being so recessed behind the bronze. Looking pretty good. I like that. Looks good. All right. Really see the halo light shine in that silver. I really do like the sterling silver, and we use that quite a bit during the Austin Powers tumbler. The next project that we make for that, I don't know, maybe the next project I'll challenge myself to use a little bit of sterling silver in it also, but we're going to be leaning heavily into greens and a little bit of red here and there, and a lot more gore. So the next project that we make in the Dimensional Drinks list will be a lot dingier and darker and more horror-like than the previous project, which is the Austin Powers is more bubbly and fun and comedic than what I planned for the next project. If you don't know already, the next project in this playlist will be actually the the Dimensional Drinks Skull. There we go, guys. I finally got it out there. The Dimensional Drinks Skull. Now, I had placed a poll on TikTok, and my amazing followers had placed all their bets and votes on what the next project would be. It was between the Ghost sleeve and the Skull sleeve. And in this next project, we will be using this skull. I will be cutting the 3D print apart here and there, applying air dry texture to create like skin and things like that. And the whole theme with the next project is okay, hear me out, guys. What if Harry Potter had lost to the Basilisk? Okay, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. That's all I have to say. But you'll be able to find that playlist at the very end of this video, as well as the info card above. But otherwise, just stay tuned and enjoy watching these metallics. So as you can see there, we did give a full coverage of purple. I believe that is a fuchsia to the top of the donut. Look how bright that is in the halo light. It looks absolutely phenomenal. It's such a bright color, and I haven't really had the opportunity to use that color before. I'm so excited to finally break it out and use it on a nice, glamorous project like this. I'm going to go ahead and give it one more touch-up layer just because it's kind of difficult to get that white and the bronze and the Mars Black, all that covered here and there. And I want to make sure that's a very thick layer so it looks like it's thick icing that's on top of the donut. And it's not just that the paint is just there as an afterthought. I want to make sure that the paint is painted on the edges of those little icing ripples that are going down the edges of the actual Dimensional Drinks donut there. So here we are. We're going to get out the ice blue. I'm sorry, I said something earlier. It's ice blue, and that is a midnight blue. Ice blue and midnight blue from Folkart Metallics, and we're going to use these to go over a few of our sprinkles here. So this is more so meticulous, very, very detailed work here. I use a very small brush, and I really just put some Netflix on in the background and just enjoy painting with these colors. Again, both of these colors, I've really never had opportunities to use them in the past, so maybe I'll have to start challenging myself to create more projects where I'm using more of these versatile metallics instead of staying with just the normal like bronzes and golds and silvers and gunmetals. So maybe I'll just start challenging myself to break apart and just use different colors. Now, one thing throughout this painting of the little sprinkles here, some of them are kind of recessed into the icing. That's completely cool. But I'm trying to be very careful not to overpaint onto the actual fuchsia icing. I want to make sure that those are kind of recessed in some ways and they're not just too overpowering. But as I start to paint this, I find that the midnight blue, it's almost kind of like blended in too well into the fuchsia. So I kind of have to come back later and I do introduce another color. It's more of a red color metallic, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe I'll leave it in the description below, the colors that I used for this project, just so that you can kind of click down the description below. You'll be able to see the timestamps as well as maybe some of the colors that I used there. So I'll try to list those below, guys. Looking pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot, guys. Let that dry there, and then we can kind of go over them a little bit here and there, just to give them a little extra coverage. And then what we're going to do is we're going to apply a little bit of rust color to the rust that's underneath all of those metallics there. I want to try to use this metallics copper instead. Now, I watered this down. Look how beautiful that copper is, though. And it's going to be a lot more opaque than my usual ink is. So usually I use the Dollar and Raleigh ink to apply just an acrylic ink wash as a rust layer, and you can do that back and forth between the colors that you have over top and the washes to create a really nice dingy, drippy rust effect. And I've been using that for a very long time. The same bottle, they're about $6 or $7 now, so they're very pricey, but if they do last quite a long time. And we're just really just having fun with this, and just being free with where I leave these drips, and just making sure that I get overall coverage over the rust that I have underneath my colors here is the most important thing. So as it dries, you can come back and give it another layer there. Looking pretty good. That copper did an amazing job. It's kind of faded a little bit, not as bright and dingy as I like for it usually to be, but I'm still pretty good and okay with that. So next I'm going to try to go over these words here, guys, and I mean, I start to go over the lettering a little bit here and there, and I tried 2 different colors here, and even if I tried 2 different colors, it just really was not popping the way that I wanted. I'll admit, it's probably because the wording was so small. I would have liked, honestly, to see the Dimensional Drink logo substantially larger on this. That way, when I go to paint it with, like, let's say the pure white or a red or a gunmetal gray, the lettering thickness would be larger and thicker so that the color would show so much better against the background. Here I am going to try this red color here. I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the sprinkles there just to give it a little bit of diversity apart from the just same 2 colors there. And I'm really glad I did this. I think it looks really good with the icing that we're going to put onto it later. Yeah, it looks pretty good, you guys, after that's dried there. I did hit it with a heat gun to expedite that dry time. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to hit this wording with the red as well. But I'm just telling you guys, I just wasn't digging it. I do show my mistakes when I make them. Why hide mistakes? And this is the color and the mistake that I did. I just did not like it. I didn't like it. I was trying to do like a little bit of a brush effect. I got frustrated. I just wasn't digging it, you guys. It wasn't making it happen. So I do come with the paper towel and I kind of brush a little bit of this off, but it does leave a little bit of muddy color between the gunmetal gray and this like a red/dark pink color. Again, you'll find that color in the description below, so I'll list that down there. I do go ahead and try to come over it with a little bit of the gunmetal gray again, and this is where I just start to chase the colors there, and it's just not working out for me, and I'm just kind of getting frustrated, and it's being messy, and I just decided to come back to the wording later, and I may let it sit on my shelf for a few weeks before I come back and just tidy up the colors a little bit here and there when I'm sitting waiting on another project to dry or something like that. So just be aware. I did put that in the video here, but I'm just not digging it, you guys. Alright guys, so with the horrible wording and painting done, let's go ahead and move on to something very fun. Let's apply an awesome Flynn Sister epoxy layer to this awesome little project here. Now, I am affiliated with Flynn Sister epoxy. It is my very best epoxy, the very best of the best. Very thick, very glass-like, and it is gorgeous on anything. So if you're wanting to try some projects out, make sure you go to the description below. Click on the link there, and you can see all of their amazing products. Their epoxy, both regular and fast set, is amazing, guys. You'll see it on almost all the projects I have moving forward, and you can use my code BStudios to get 10% off. So we're gonna go ahead and just mix up 10 milliliters of fast set, and then we're gonna go ahead and mix this up here. I'm gonna try to keep this in a little bit more so real time if I can get away with it. I may speed it up a little bit as I'm applying the actual icing to this. That is more of a glaze icing. It's just something a little bit extra to create a little bit of shine on top of the existing fuchsia. Kind of pouring that out there. Only 10 milliliters, not much at all. Not enough to barely do anything with, but when it comes to crafting a project, 10 milliliters will take you a very long way. Very long way indeed. I'm going to go ahead and use a little popsicle stick here, and we're going to go ahead and mix this up here. I'm not too worried about any kind of bubbles or anything like that. I'm not really worried about that because it's just going to be poured on. Looking pretty good. I like it. All right, so we got our Dimensional Drinks donut here sitting on top of this little pint stainless steel cup. It's just a scrap cup that I use for projects. And we're going to be using my affiliate glitter that I just received from Twisted Glitters. You can find their description below, and it is an amazing pink color, so like a mid-chunky. And this one is called Twisted Bees. Twisted Bees, let's just leave it at that. But it is an amazing glitter, and they have amazing colors. They're creating new glitters all the time, and if you want a custom glitter created, just reach out to them through their website. You'll find that description below. We're going to go ahead and to our Flint Sister epoxy, we're going to add a little bit of pure white, just enough to make it transparent, but have the white shading color. This is going to be very fun. It almost looks like other stuff, but we're going to go ahead and use a popsicle stick, and we're going to go ahead and just gently apply this icing to the top of this donut here. It's going to be very fun, and it is fast set, so it won't take very long to set up, but it will leave uniform drips on the bottom of the donut as it drips down onto the paper here. So just be aware of that, and of course they are uniform, so they will also allow the donut still to sit flat on my surface here. Again, just remember that glitter is from Twisted Glitters. I am an affiliate of them, and you can use my code BStudios to get a discount off their website, off glitter, 3D prints, and all sorts of other fun stuff. If you want a custom glitter mix, make sure you go check them out. We're going to go ahead and apply a little bit of that glitter there just to give it some beautiful shine. I'm very, very generous with that, and I finally just stopped flicking it on with my finger, and I just go ahead and just dump some on there. It looks absolutely incredible. We'll be using that glitter here soon in a new Barbie tumbler. That will be a solo video that me and my daughter are creating for the Barbie tumbler. Very cool, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you check out some of the affiliate links below. But otherwise, what do you think about the Folkart metallics? That fuchsia is absolutely phenomenal. Against the bronze, it really does pop. I really did have fun with this little side solo project for the Dimensional Drinks playlist. Make sure you check that out. And the next project that we have coming up out for them will be the actual Harry Potter Basilisk Cup. Later, guys.